Creature Commandos was a show that I was straight up not excited for. Not only did I think that the frankly already tired James Gunn concept of a ragtag group of outsiders becoming a family was overdone, but I just wasn't interested in these unknown characters, and certainly didn't want a brand new DC universe to be springboarded off of them. But from the impeccable writing, the impressively three-dimensional cast, the fluid and exciting action, all the way to the formulaic yet still unpredictable episode and season structure, everything built up in this show to create something that only 3 weeks into I was already in love with, desperate for more. Welcome to Sandwich Reviews. I'm the Talking Sentient Sandwich, your naive but informed optimist, and aside from his Superman movie, if Gunn wanted to make this kind of project with a rotating roster of expendable characters going out on barely sanctioned suicide missions, well, I would not complain. Because week after week, focusing on a new character every time, even as I could begin to see past the formula of having one of them stare blankly into space to transition to their past, though those kind of transitions were only noticeably bad because there were also some genuinely creative ones. But I grew to care more and more about these characters, doing so by diving into the past of these terrible people, fleshing out the very reason why they ended up where they are and why their lives are just that terrible. So whether they're a victim of circumstances or seemingly beyond redemption, they were, at one point in their lives, victims. So even if they were veritably evil, and one of them specifically was, even though he wasn't technically part of the team, I still could understand where their head was at with each gruesome decision. So if you're eager to get a new look at the upcoming DCU and aren't afraid of lots of blood in a very adult animated show, then check out Creature Commandos. Because even if you're not one for great comedy, action, or drama, each character's personal struggle will get you invested in this story. So with that said, let's move on to spoilers, where you should only continue on to if you've seen all 7 episodes. Ready? Alright. First off, putting the show's story and characters aside for just 1 second, one of the many things that I loved about this was the many Easter eggs and references crammed in, getting me to eagerly scan every frame or line of dialogue for the smallest hint of what's to come from this new DC universe. There were diagrams of metal men, and in the same episode, mentions of Hub City, home of Charles Zaz, otherwise known as Vic Sage, otherwise known as The Question. And of those, there were plenty more small teases of a larger universe filled to the brim with metahumans and freaks of science, which kept me more than entertained throughout. But now that I'm in the spoiler section, I can talk about how the finale did seem a bit underwhelming. Just in the sense that the main plot kinda ends with episode 3 where they defeat Cersei and complete the mission. I like how that left the rest of the season open-ended and was wondering where it was going, but I don't think the end result was crazy enough. And it's not like a cool action scene would have fixed it, though I wouldn't have minded maybe just one more with Clayface, who is dead. I don't know, and it doesn't really matter, because there are like 8 different people who've been Clayface, but I still would have liked something like that, though the one devastating loss in that finale does cement it in my mind for the foreseeable future. And even though no one else died up until that finale, GI blowing up set up the stakes and demonstrated that no one was safe, making me fearful for each one at every turn. Of course, I figured that GI could be rebuilt and is given a healthy upgrade for Season 2, along with some new and familiar faces, but I'm genuinely going to miss Nina. Honestly, I think I'm still processing what happened, because it was just so quick and shocking. Overall, the show definitely hits you in the feels over and over again, but some of those scenarios do come off as overwritten at times. The most memorable example of that being in episode 4, Weasel's episode. And I think it was just all of the coincidences in that combining, and the idiocy of the old man immediately going to fire off shots near children is just plain old ridiculous. But to be fair, at the time, I wasn't even thinking of any of that. I was too busy crying my eyes out. In fact, that whole episode had me in tears just because you immediately knew that Weasel didn't kill those kids. And moving on slightly, I really enjoyed seeing Frankenstein's monster, but I'm not sure what he added to the story. I mean, it gave Flag someone to talk to, and I even thought the narrative would come around and he would be the villain, but no, he was just a random character who isn't that important in the grand scheme of things. And before I go, I need to quickly mention episode 6. And I've already talked it to death at this point, but they showed Gotham and my mind jumped straight to, are we gonna see Batman? But I assumed there was no chance. Though, with Phosphorus in jail, he'd logically be caught by the Bat himself. And as Phosphorus began killing more mob bosses and gaining power, I said out loud to myself, okay, now we have to get Batman. And sure enough, we did. The music and lights cut out, and I lost my mind. But those are all my thoughts on the DC animated show Creature Commandos. Are you excited for Season 2? What kind of secretive dangerous mission do you think the team will be sent out for? Leave a comment and let me know your thoughts. And as always, thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe for weekly video essays and reviews, and enjoy a delicious sandwich.